There's a total of 6 set operators. 3 are kind of the main ones. It's called union, intersect, and accept. And then all of them you can add the word all behind. So union all, intersect all, and accept all. And I'll explain the difference between those in just a second. But the set operators is all about stacking data. So it's similar to joins in a way that we're combining data from 2 different result sets or tables. But when I'm joining, I'm moving columns and putting them next to each other. So I'm not creating new rows. I'm not creating new rows necessarily. I'm adding columns to existing rows. Whereas when I'm doing set operators, I'm stacking rows on top of each other. So I'm not creating any new columns. I'm just creating more rows. And I'm not creating them. I'm combining them from 2 different sources. So when I'm doing union, it's taking one result set and then it stacks it on top of another result set. And I can do many result sets here. So I can do 3 or 4 result sets and stack all of them together. But let's just talk about being 2 here. So with the union operator, I take one result set and then I stack that on top of another one. And then when I use union without union all, then I remove any duplicate value. So even if there were duplicate values from before I stacked it in one table, those will also be removed. So it stacks everything and then it looks at the final output and then it removes any duplicate values. And here duplicate is not just like in one column there's a duplicate value. Here we're talking about a row is a complete duplicate of another row. If I do union all, then it's the same thing as union except for I'm keeping those duplicate values or those duplicate rows. In intersect, I'm going to be looking at the result set and I'm going to look for rows in one of the result set and see if there's an identical row in another result set. So I'm actually looking for duplicates here, but then I'm removing one of those. I'm only keeping one of each of the duplicates I'm finding. I can use intersect all and then I keep all those duplicates. And then in accept, it's kind of the opposite. It's saying that look in the first result set and then see if you can find a single row, a specific row. If you can find that row, an identical row in another result set, then don't keep it. Only keep rows from the first result set if there are no identical rows in the second result set. And again, if I have an accept all here, then I'm going to be keeping duplicates if there are any duplicates. And in this instance, I assume that those duplicates would have to come from the first result set, since I'm only keeping rows that don't have matches. So a few rules when it comes to set operators is that each of the result set must have the same number of columns. And the result set, so I'm having a query and then I have a union operator or an intersect operator, accept operator, and then I have another query typically. So each query must return the same number of columns and they have to have the same data types and the order of the columns have to be the same. I could potentially stack things anyway, but it won't match up the columns correctly for me just based on the names. It ignores the names actually of the columns. So column 1, if that's customer ID in one result set, and column 2 is total dollar value, and then in the second result set I switch that. So the first column is now total dollar value and the second one is customer ID. Now I'm gonna take rows from the first result set and I'm gonna have customer IDs in the first column, and then I'm gonna combine that with rows from the second result set, and I'm gonna combine those customer IDs with total dollar values so that I'm mismatching. And then of course the other way around for the column 2 instead. So the column order is important. And I said they don't care about the column names, so what it does is in the final result set it takes the column names from the first result set and uses that. Any order by within the queries don't impact the final result set. So you can do an order by and do anything you want, but once it takes the result set, whatever it is you're giving it, it's going to combine that based on if you do union, intersect, or etc. So it's going to stack it with another result set, and then that might not be ordered the same way that things were ordered in the individual queries. So if I want to do an order by, I can do that at the very end of the union query or the intersect or accept query, and then that will be ordering the entire result, not just one of the individual queries. So what we're going to do here, we're going to do like exercise. We're going to take the query from question 18 and we're going to create a list or a new result set that contains the top 5 and the bottom 5 customers in terms of net, or the difference between order sums and payment sums. I'm also going to include a new field called called type that indicates whether it's top or bottom, from the top or bottom query. So here is the original or the old data here. So I'm going to go ahead and modify this one. Not old data, old query. So here is the query from question 18 that I'm going to be modifying. So instead of this select here, I'm going to have a union here. So I'm just going to add below here a union, and then order by net descending. I'm not going to offset, and I'm going to do limit 5 instead. And then I'm going to have another select that's identical here in this case. And now I'm going to do ascending 5. And then I'm going to sort this. So I'm going to do order by, and I'm going to order by net. And I'm going to order in descending order. And let's go ahead and run this. So it's saying I did something wrong here next to union, and I have a semicolon here. So here I'm getting an error message because I cannot include an order by here next to this union. So I can't have an order by within here. To get around this, I can actually include this in the with statement instead. So I can make that a temporary view instead. So I'm going to move this up into it. Let's call this top net, and then as, and then go ahead and paste that formula or that query, indent these. Then we're going to create another one. That's going to be bottom net, and that's going to be ascending, and no comma at the end. And then now we're going to do our select statement here. So now I'm going to do select star from top net union, and then the same thing here, but I'm going to select it from bottom. And then we're going to order this in the end by descent. And then we'll try to run it again. That now ran, and I've got 10 as output, and let's see, it goes in descending order here, and it looks like we have a little bit of a gap after 5 here. We don't know where it came from, so I need to still add those. What was it? Top as type, comma star, and bottom, and this I can name anything I want. I'll just go ahead and not name it at all, and then we'll run it, because remember it's going to take the name from the first result set there. So now we see these came from top, these came from bottom, which makes sense because I ordered by them.